All right, so welcome to Flippin' SoFlo. Today I have an amazing guest, Bobby Suarez, arguably buying the most amount of houses in South Florida right now. I don't even think it is an argument. I think you are.
Thank you for that.
Taking that crown right now. We just met for the first time today, officially, but our paths have kind of crossed throughout the years, right? Crazy. This business is a small world. We were just talking about that off camera. So let's just dive right into it. Number one, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy dude.
No problem.
I like what you're doing from afar. I know you're on social media now, right? This is kind of new to you, which is awesome because you're getting out of your comfort zone, and I think that's fantastic to do. And also, as we were speaking off camera, is really important for South Florida as a whole. There's a lot of fillers in South Florida, and I'm really happy to see another guy like you who's actually really doing this business at a very, very high level. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're on track to do, last I heard, over 9 mil or 10 mil for the year?
Somewhere around that range.
Somewhere around that range. He wants to be a little bit humble about it, but he's buying a lot of fucking houses. That's the freaking point. So I love seeing somebody like you come out and actually be on social media. You strike me as a super go-giver. You want to help people. I saw you posted a video the other day about talking about sales training that you're going to be handing out or giving to people, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning, which is usually where we start with these things, right? You've been in this business for how long now?
So I got into the real estate industry at the age of 19.
Okay.
So I got started in the mortgage industry, opened my first mortgage company at the age of 20,
Okay.
went bankrupt and lost it all
No shit.
by the age of 24. So that was in 2007. And then I had to go get a regular job, dude. Worked at life insurance company. I applied as a sales agent, got a sales manager job. I just got very lucky. Did that for a few years. And then in 2011, I got presented an opportunity to go work at a real estate company, which represented large hedge funds that were buying single family properties in a large scale.
Yeah.
And that's where I really learned how to do the investment game of real estate. And I learned how to just look at real estate from a different lens and a different angle. Learned how to underwrite, comp properties. And we were working there. I was working there as I was pretty much like an agent, scrubbing the MLS for deals for the fund.
You could get them back then.
Oh yeah, it was super easy, dude. Nobody wanted them, so we were getting them all. And doing that, I did that for a few years, and then I started fixing and flipping while still there, part-time.
Okay.
And I think we fixed and flipped my first property in 2012. I'll never forget the house was in Miami Gardens. I bought it for 42 grand.
Wow. 42 grand in Miami Gardens.
Doesn't exist.
No shot.
That house is probably like $500,000 right now. And officially in 2014, I opened my own company, Housing Investments Group. And here we are now. And I would say actually over the last 3-4 years, I really decided to scale the business. So I looked at my business then and I'm like, man, I need more people. I was doing this on my own. I thought I was smart because I didn't have any expenses. And I'm like, I can't grow anymore, by myself. I was within that $500,000 to $1 million range. And I'm like, man, I could never break this. So then that's when I really decided to recruit high-level individuals, build a team, and here we are now.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig into a few of those things. So number one, you went BK, obviously, which there's no shame. The whole economy went BK at that time.
I was young and stupid, spending more money than I was making. Honestly, I didn't have like a father figure or a mentor back then. My dad wasn't around at a young age.
Yeah.
So, dude, everything that I know, I learned it on my own. My mom wasn't a good steward of money. She was broke. We were broke. Honestly, we were growing up. So when I got a little taste of money, I was spending more than I was making.
So the same exact thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. It is what it is.
Yeah. But hey, you got to go through those things to get to where you are now. So
for sure,
a couple things. You bounce back, obviously, and you bounce back in a very big way. So to anybody watching, I really dislike that Instagram and social media makes it, insta everything, right? It's like there is no delayed gratification. I started in the business in 2017, but I've been through a lot of hard shit to get to where I'm at today. Yeah. So have you. And that's the thing that I want people to really see is it's a very long game. And
there's phases to this business.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as overnight success. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, overnight took me 6 years and it took you over a decade. So yeah. And having the right people around you too, which is interesting that you said that. I didn't have a dad either. So my figures were people that I picked up throughout life, right? And you usually tend to emulate what you see. And when you don't have something for a very long time, you're like, oh, this is great. I made $100 grand. Boom, let me go buy that stupid Rolex or the car or the M3 or whatever it was, right?
Yep.
And I did the same exact thing. And that's why I always tell like my students and stuff, especially if they're on the younger side, like early 20s, they start making 40, 50 grand a month, which we weren't doing that in our early 20s. But now it's so easy for them to do that. And I'm telling them, I'm like, look, I'm not here to be your dad, but I do care about you. Don't be an idiot with your money. Seriously. And this doesn't last forever. There will be seasons. There will be rainy days.
Absolutely.
You need to reinvest it into the business that got you here in the first place, like hiring, marketing, etc. Speaking of which, what does your team look like today?
So right now we have about things like 17 or 19 individuals.
Okay.
So I have a COO. I have 3 acquisition agents, 2 dispo agents, a TC, 3 lead managers, 3 full-time real estate agents that handle all my fix and flips and novations. And I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody else.
Probably some VAs in there or stuff.
A field dispositions manager, like he assists my dispo team also.
Okay.
And a property manager, the guy that handles all my construction manager.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You have any virtual assistants in there supporting? You don't?
No.
I'm curious, why?
Man, I like everybody in-house.
Okay.
I think it helps with the culture.
Sure.
I actually did a video recently. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it's important to have culture enhancers in your office.
Mm-hmm.
So having culture enhancers and having everybody there, it helps, man. And these are people, obviously, that they make that special vibe in your office.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, I've seen some of your videos. It looks like your team is, I mean, you make some funny videos too. There's one lady in your team that's like, stop, I'm busy right now.
Oh, yeah.
And she
Yeah, she's a character.
yeah. I don't know if that was scripted, but it looked
It was. That part was.
Yeah. So what, I mean, you're doing a ton of volume. So you're probably, averaging 20 deals a month or something?
We're anywhere between 25 to 35.
25 to 35. What markets are you in? The whole state or what?
No. So I'm deep into South Florida.
Okay.
Doing Dade and Broward County, and I have a very small operation in Orlando, Florida. So I had one of my good friends move over there. His wife's a doctor, and we decided to partner up on fix and flips over there. But we're just doing very little business over there, and the majority of my stuff is down here.
I love it.
Yeah.
So good question for you. I scaled, a few years ago, my best year was 7.3. So I understand the volume. I understand the amount of brain damage that comes with that, especially, the scale, the team, everything. But for anyone watching out there, because I don't know if you get this often, but I get it all the time, which is Miami's such a saturated, competitive market, and they're from here, and then they want to go outside of Miami. So what's your response to that?
Honestly, I want them to do it so that I get more deals to buy, right?
Yeah.
But look, for me, it was just easier. We have more buyers here. We have more resources. I could drive to the properties. Prior, I think like right before COVID, I was doing the state of Florida entirely. I was flipping houses in St. Pete. I remember I started demoing a house. First day I got popped. In Fort Myers, I was getting robbed by a contractor because he knew I wasn't going to go see the houses every day. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
At least doing the business model I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. You might get marketing for cheaper. You're going to get PPC for cheaper, or you're going to, you know what I mean? But it's going to cost you more money in the long run.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly having to build your buyers list.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there is a couple guys that are doing it in a large scale and it's working.
Sure.
But it is very hard.
Yeah, it's much harder. And my recommendation is always like, look, dude, yes, it's complicated and yes, it's saturated. We're not going to sit here and say Miami's a very competitive market. I mean,
Super.
Unquestionable, right? And it is a sunny place for shady characters. You got to be careful.
Oh, yeah. I just saw a bunch on the way over here. This area's full of them.
Yeah. So it takes a certain attitude to operate in Miami. Obviously, that's why I think that virtual wholesaling, anyone that I've ever seen try to get in here and do it from out of state and do it here, they get smoked out really quickly. Oh, yeah. Because you got guys like us. I mean, you have to know your market. But I always say, I mean, look, when I started in 2017, that's the same crap I heard. Everyone's like, oh, this market is so high. Oh, it's so competitive. Granted, I wasn't buying them at 40 like you were, but I was buying Miami Gardens for $130, $140 that I'm buying today for $350, maybe $4, pushing $4. I mean, the ARV in Miami Gardens now is north of $500,000 for a small 3-2. It's crazy.
It's the new Hialeah.
It is the new Hialeah. Yeah, and now Hialeah is untouchable.
Oh, Crazy.
let alone Miami Lakes.
Hialeah is the best rental market if you could find a good rental market.
Correct.
If you could find a good rental there.
Yeah, we tied one up the other day in Hialeah, which I usually don't buy in Hialeah, but hey,
Same here.
because of reoccupancy.
Yes.
Yeah. So doing this much volume, just give us a little bit of a breakdown of your marketing. Where do you divide it?
So in marketing, I have a couple different marketing sources. So I completely stopped doing any outbound marketing. I wanted to simplify my business. We were doing cold calling, SMS prior to what we're doing now, and it was, dude, a lot of brain damage. Buying lists, skip tracing them, sending them to the call center. I'm worrying if I'm going to get sued by the TCPA or whoever regulates the calls and all that crap. So now what we're doing solely is TV, direct mail, billboards, pretty much it, man. And
Radio?
No radio.
No radio.
Yeah, we've done radio and it didn't work out well for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And PPC, you said?
Yes.
Cool. You use Phil Green, right?
I do.
So do I.
Yeah,
Phil's a good guy.
yeah, they're great. But those guys are crushing it.
Yeah, they're
You
crushing.
think you're big, and then you go to their office, they're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, they're doing like 20, 25.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. I remember watching you when I was at my peak in 2020, 2021. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were like really starting to get some traction on the TV side, right?
Yeah, so we got started, I don't remember if it was 2019 or 2020, and I made a decision to start TV, and dude, I lost my ass the first 6 months of TV. I didn't make any money, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to continue at it. I have a mentor of mine, they're actually in Arizona, and he told me, man, stick with it, and thank God I did, and it's working well for us now.
Yeah. How much money do you think you put into TV? Because it's not cheap. I know that for a fact.
At all. So on TV, on a monthly basis, we're spending anywhere between $150 to $200,000 a month.
Okay. It's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
At my peak, I had a total marketing budget of $120.
Yeah.
So that's a lot in one channel.
The thing is, if you're spending, and I tell guys all the time, that's why a lot of guys, they come in and they leave very quick. If you're spending less than $50,000 on TV here, don't even waste your time.
Correct.
They can't compete.
Yeah, and PPC it's a little different, but if you're not at least putting up 20, 25 grand a month, then you can handle it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to shut it off. Don't.
And aside from that, you better have some good closers.
Oh, yeah. It's fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's fast.
Because you'll definitely sink real quick.
Yeah, you'll smoke money left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, a lot of people, especially like on the education side for me, a lot of people that are starting off, I understand because we've both been there, you know, different eras, but we've definitely both been there. When you're starting off, you just wanna go and you just want to get there now. And I want what Bobby has, I want what Willie has. Like, you know, I want to be doing 10, 15, 20 deals a month. Why not? But you have to understand it takes a lot of muscle memory to do that.
Yeah.
And going BK and losing your ass and having 2 business partnership divorces, you know, smoking a lot of money. I've smoked 100K months on direct mail because the number wasn't printed on the postcard. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Shit happens. And it's real shit
You
that
got to be
happens.
prepared when those mistakes happen to continue going.
And what are you going to do? You're going to stop? You know, so the thing that I see is that nobody wants delayed gratification anymore.
Everybody wants it now. I see that a lot.
Yeah. I was wondering what you felt about that.
Yeah, man. I always tell the youngins, man, work your ass off. When I first got started in this industry, I was working 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I'll never forget when my firstborn was born. The day my wife told me that we were having a baby, I was at the office looking at a package of single-family homes on a Sunday. It was Super Bowl Sunday, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was harassing me to go home. And I'm like, dude, I can't. I got to get this thing done. And that's my mentality. I did that till recently.
Yes. I love it.
So it's like, man, you got to bust your ass, work 7 days a week, do whatever it takes. Don't fucking complain. Sorry if I could.
No, you can curse. No. Let it fly. Let it fly.
Yeah, we're in Miami.
Yeah, you can curse in English and in Spanish.
On here.
Bilingual cursing. Go for it. Let it rip.
But yeah, man, you got to pay your dues at the beginning. And a lot of the young generation, I feel like they just want that overnight, what Bobby has or what Willie has. And they don't understand that this thing took a long time to get here.
A long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. You know, I had some students the other day that they're like, man, we're fully committed. And, you know, we've been doing this for a year. And I'm like, well, how much have you been calling? Show me the numbers. What are you doing? Are you No, we don't work on Saturdays. I'm like, you don't what? I'm sorry? And they're like, no, yeah, we don't work on Saturdays. I'm like, well, you're fucked.
Yep.
Because I'm going to smoke you on a Saturday. My team's going to smoke you on a Saturday. Bobby's going to smoke you on a Saturday.
Yep.
And he's got a much larger operation than me. But yeah, man, I've missed out on many weddings and birthdays and, you know, being late to places and not going at all.
Sacrifices, man.
Yeah.
And it's necessary in the beginning. Like I told you before, there's a lot of phases in life and in business.
Correct.
And the beginning phase, you got to work hard.
Yep. And everyone says that they're committed until they're faced with the reality of, oh shit, this is what I have to do. And then they're not. You'll learn really quickly how committed you are.
Yep.
You know, I had a mentor one time tell me, he's like, you're committed? Cool. Sounds good. Can you get up at 5 a.m.? I was like, ooh, actually,
Yep.
I get up at 7. And he's like, well, I guess that commitment's not that strong, right?
Yep.
It's funny, but that, you know, when your priorities, I always say when your priorities shift and when your success is the priority, you will move mountains and nothing's going to matter. You won't care about what your friends are doing. You won't care about what the next guy's doing.
Ultra focused.
Correct. And when you have those blinders on, dude, it's incredible. Did you ever think that you would be sitting here right now the way that you are?
Honestly, no, man. This whole podcast thing is, like I told you before, is very new to me. I think I've only been like on 3 or 4. I've always declined.
I love it.
Recently, I think I've been on Alex Pardo's podcast twice. And I did another one the other day, but honestly, I like it now. I like being in front of the camera, talking, obviously, you know, spreading knowledge,
Sure.
teaching people what we're doing. So I think it's a good thing, man. You got to give back.
I love it. Yeah. You know, I call it paying forward, but yeah, you know,
100%.
when you get there, you got to kind of reach back and grab some people, but you got to grab the right people, which leads me to my next subject. This is something that I try to talk about a lot because I think it's not spoken about enough. When you first started out, right? I'll tell you my story after yours, but
Okay.
when you first started off, friends, right? You know that moment where you want to go in a certain direction. You feel it. You see something you want. You're like, all right, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. This shit's going to suck. I need to be laser focused. A lot of times people have a problem with cutting out certain people of their life, especially when they're starting out, right? And it hinders them more than they know because they're just dragging these people along. But what was it like for you? I mean, in terms of certain relationships, right? I call it people who withdraw from your life, and there's people who deposit in your life.
Honestly, for me, I didn't have a lot of negative people around my life. Honestly, I would hang out with a lot of the people I would work with, all my friends.
Sure.
And we were all in the same mindset, that growth mindset. So I was just laser focused, man.
I love it.
Anybody that wasn't on my wavelength, cut them off real fast. Very simple, man.
No shame about it.
Zero.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And would you say that that's probably one of the attributes to your success?
That's one of them, yes, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it has.
Very consistent, and I'll never give up. You know, if that's my dream and I want to do it, I'm going to get it done one way or another.
Clearly. And you're married, correct?
I am, yeah.
How long have you been married?
So, damn.
Dang.
I think I'm going on 12 years now, but I've been with my wife for 21 years.
Wow.
So she's been with me since we were 19. She was with me while we went through the bankruptcy and through everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good for you. She sounds like an amazing woman.
She is great.
That's awesome. How important is it to relate the family life to the business life?
It's very important, man. It's very important to have the right partner, spouse. I've seen a lot of talented guys fall sideways or fall on their ass because they, you know, obviously they didn't have the right spouse backing them up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important you have the right spouse that backs you up and is there for you, man. And she understands that guys like us that we're visionaries, that we're probably not going to be there for dinner sometimes, even though I try to make it there every time now.
Sure.
But at the beginning, I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I gave you the story when I first, found out my first daughter was going to be born. It was Super Bowl Sunday. I was at home on Sunday, right? So she knew that I had to sacrifice at the beginning.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
But now you can give her the life that she deserves.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what you just said off camera that you just retired her, right? Basically.
Well, my mom, yeah. Well, yeah, my wife too. My wife just quit her job. She
Amazing.
was, an occupational therapist, and yeah, she finally quit after many years of harassment from me to quit.
Okay, good, good. Well, yeah, you guys seem like you have a great family dynamic. You have your kids as well, right?
I have 2 girls, yes.
2 girls. How old?
10 and 6.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And are you teaching them anything entrepreneurially or what?
Man,
What do you talk to them about?
And I teach them the importance of saving. I've already bought a couple entrepreneur books. I know Ray Dalio has a book for kids called Principles, but it's the kid version.
Oh, yeah?
I'm constantly just teaching them the importance of money, of assets, cash flow, things like that.
I love that, man.
Dang.
Yeah, I think it's so important, bro, because, I mean, we both grew up in Miami. I know for a fact I didn't learn any of that shit in school. Yeah. There wasn't even a financial literacy class.
I remember when I first turned 18, I got a Capital One credit card, got delivered to my house, and I went straight to the store. I bought a DVD player. For those that don't know, those are what Netflix, we used to have CD players to watch movies. And I bought a movie and sneakers, and I was literally maxed out. First day.
Bad financial blueprint.
It's funny, yesterday I was thinking, man, because I've been thinking a lot about the legacy piece, and I want my wife to help me out with that part of the business. Well, not the giving back part. Right. And I would love to start like a financial education like foundation for high school kids to teach them financial literacy.
I would love that.
How to write a check, credit cards, how to save, what do they got to do to buy their first car, things like that.
I would love that.
So have a ton of ideas that I definitely want to start implementing.
I love it. Well, if you need any, I'd love to be involved.
Definitely, yeah. I was even thinking, I would love for guys that are very smart and savvy financial guys to donate their time.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could raise money to make literatures or books and things like that. And we could partner with schools like Pitbull. If you see this,
Slam, yeah.
maybe we could partner up, man.
Pitbull, if you're watching this, Dali.
Yeah. We have a lot of mutual friends too, so
there you go.
We can make it happen if you
My
want.
brother went to high school with him. Yeah,
Nice, yeah. I have a couple friends of mine that are good friends with him.
I love it.
And but yeah, I would love to partner up with schools and try to get into every high school in the country.
I think it's really important, man. And did you go to college or you just went straight to work?
So I didn't go to college right away. I went straight to work. But when I lost my when I lost everything, I ended up going to an online college.
Okay.
And I did get my degree.
Cool.
I got a bachelor's degree, and honestly, it was the worst decision I ever made.
Why is that?
Because it cost me like $80,000, and for me, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur at the end of the day. So in the back of my mind, I was doing it just in case I didn't get back into entrepreneurship, and I had to climb the corporate ladder, and whatever. It's done. I got it, and it is what it is.
Right. It happens.
And I'm not against it either.
Yeah.
So I want my kids to go and at least get their 4-year university degree and build connections and things like that. Hopefully they go to a good school.
Yeah.
So for me, definitely it is important.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a Merrill Lynch guy, so I was a corporate America guy. I went to FIU.
Awesome.
I was the first dude hired out of FIU for Merrill because at that time Merrill Lynch didn't even look at FIU. Yeah. They were like, yeah.
He was blown up, man.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah. I remember I went to New York. I was on Wall Street for a year, and then I got fired. And so I came back home and moved there.
What were you doing over there?
I was in oil. So I was a junior trader, and I was on an analyst track, and then I became a junior trader, and then I got fired.
Got it.
But that was the first time I ever saw. That was where the light bulb really hit for me, and I'm interested to know when your light bulb moment was.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. But for me, I remember being at Merrill. I was 23 at the time. Mm-hmm. Young ass guy working 100 hours a week. New York really grinds you to the bone. I sleep at my desk sometimes. And my boss told me to do a margin call on Citibank, which, whatever, I won't get into the margin call. But I called the guy, the other trader on the other line, which was at Citibank. And I asked my boss, I was like, what's the margin? And he said, it's 100 mil. And I said, I'm sorry? And I literally couldn't believe it. He's like, yeah, it's 100 million. I'm like, you want me to ask this guy for $100 million? He's like, yeah, bro, get out of my office right now. That's a light day. And I went back and I asked him, and dude, he goes, all right, cool. You'll have it at the end of the day. Click. I was in awe because I'm a kid that didn't grow up with a lot of money in Miami. Like we both, have very similar backgrounds. And dude, by the end of the day, I saw $100 million hit the account and I shit my pants. And I think that's the first light bulb moment for me.
It's a cool experience.
Yeah, where I was 23 and I was like, well, it's not my money, and I'm making like $65,000 a year, keep in mind, in New York, which is like negative 50 down here.
You're poor.
I'm like ramen noodles.
The subway station.
Yeah, literally like a 200 square foot apartment, sharing it. And bro, but when I came back, I think that always stuck with me in my subconscious because I just said, damn, there's a lot of wealth out there in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy. But when did you have your like light bulb moment? You know, because you've been through a few. It sounds like.
So I've had a couple. The first one I had when I was started working with my buddies at the investment side, like the real estate company, and I saw my buddies there where they were doing great, right? And then another moment was when I joined my mastermind. I joined the mastermind. I'm here thinking,
Which one?
Collective Genius.
Yeah, I'm also
Here,
there.
man, I'm probably the biggest guy in South Florida, and then you get there, and these guys are like smacking you up. I'm like, dude, you know, I felt like terrible. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me humble up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized, I could go bigger than this. And then I actually did.
Yeah, so let's hone in on that for a second. So we're both part of CG. Actually, I just exited CG, but shout out to Jason. What's up?
Great dudes.
Great dudes. Yeah. Amazing. I was in there for 2 years. It's funny, our paths never crossed, but I guess 6 degrees of separation. But when you got into the mastermind, was it something, because I heard you were a little bit reluctant to it at first.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so talk to me about
So, man, I had that Miami mentality where, man, why are these people going to teach you all their trade secrets on how to make millions of dollars?
They're bullshit.
So, I'm like, man, that shit doesn't exist. And honestly, I had like I called one of my mentors, and he's like, man, just do it, you know. And actually, I talked to my wife, and my wife's like, you know what, do it. And I called Leon. I'm like, yo, let's go. Sign me up before I change my mind.
Leon.
Damn.
What's up, Leon?
Shout out to Leon.
Leon's a beast.
And honestly, man, I never looked back ever since. I met great connections my first meeting there. And I honestly, I found a few guys that I wanted to literally copy their business. And they allowed me to. Obviously, they're like, dude, whatever you need, let me know. And I copied their business model, and I really deeply focused on it, and I made it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was definitely worth it.
100%.
Right. And it's crazy because we're both from Miami, same mentality. I know I got into my first mastermind, I think, over 5 years ago.
Did you have the same reluctancy?
Yeah, I mean, look, I got shotgunned into it. I spoke at an event with Max Maxwell. I was so early on in my career, I had no business being there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit at the time.
Yeah.
But I ended up at a chance dinner, and this goes out to anybody watching this right now. You never know where that opportunity is going to come from or where that next door might open and when.
It forced you to level up.
It forced me to level up. I was at this dinner. One of the guys at the dinner was Scott Oots. What's up, Scott? And he was like, yo, you said you're in Miami? And I said, yeah. And he goes, we actually, because they had non-competing markets in the mastermind. And they're like, we actually just had a dude that left in the Miami market. I'm voting you in. And I was like, voting me into what? And he's like, the mastermind. And I remember Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He talks about the mastermind. Yeah. And dude, I literally told him, I freaked out. I was like, bro, what do you mean? Like, I don't have anything to share. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, don't worry about it. You'll come to the next meeting. And bro, it was the greatest decision I ever made in my life. But at the first meeting, I remember the Miami mentality. I was like, let me not share my secrets. And granted, I was doing $400,000 a year. Yeah. There was guys in there doing 8 mil. Yeah. They're like, what secret, bro? There is no secret.
It's funny that we call it the Miami mentality.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's a lot. You know, I don't know if it's like the Hispanic thing or
like don't trust anybody. Don't tell nobody what you're doing.
It's like paranoid. Yeah. And it's like, dude, once you get up to their to that abundance mentality, like you realize you're like, brother, there's so much money out there. Yeah. You're not gonna take anything away from me.
There's enough for everybody to eat. Man.
Look, dude, we competed at a very high level and we never even knew each other. And I did 7 mil, and you probably did very close or more at the same year in the same market. And Miami's too competitive. Yep. I find that hilarious, right? And I think that 6 degrees of separation is a real thing. Look at us, right? Yep. That was one friendship to another friendship, connection, and boom, that was that. So you're still in CG actively, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I
just got back from California now. I actually just took my wife for the first time, so she was able to experience the masterminds.
That's cool.
So it was pretty cool. And she met a lot of my, relationship that I've made throughout the years there.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah, I took my girlfriend to a mastermind as well.
Nice.
And she was just like, her first one, she was blown away.
Yeah.
Because, because it's almost like
a lot of different characters in there.
Yeah, dude. From all walks of life,
Oh, yeah.
And it's cool though, because you see like quirky people and you see super smart people, introverted, extroverted. Yeah. And you're like, dude. And then you meet people that you're like, dude, this guy's doing what? Like how much in business? And I think the mastermind too it's the principle of elasticity where, once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And once your mind expands past a certain point, it's over. You can't go back.
Yep.
Right. And I think that that's the beauty of a mastermind. It also forces you to humble up. Miami is a big place. I know I've been guilty of this in my career, where ego is not your amigo, right? Where I was like, oh, I'm the king down here.
Collaboration is king.
Correct, bro. Correct.
It's relationships is super important.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is make enemies with your competitors. I think that's stupid.
Yep.
And I know a couple guys that are doing it out there. Actually, one guy called me out a year ago. I just deleted him. I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I think that
Don't take me back to my old school days.
Don't take me back to Braddock. No, but it's funny, dude. I think you nailed it on the head. Collaboration versus competition.
For sure.
What can we do together? I know for a fact what we can do together is much further than what I can do individually, or vice versa. And there's things that I'm learning from you, just talking off camera.
Yeah.
That is cool to me, and it's just great to know that. And hopefully I can do the same for you. And I'm in a new chapter in my life in that regard, where I'm like, dude, you know what? You got more money than me. Great. You're doing something better than me. Awesome.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's for me, for example, it's super important. Like, and I honestly, CG helped me out with this. I was always like very self-conscious. Oh, I can't say this or I can't say that. Dude, who cares?
Exactly.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think that's our own ego and pride, thinking that people are going to care so much about
They don't
what we're
give a
saying.
shit about us.
Nobody gives a shit, bro. Nobody gives a shit. And it's funny because I meet people now at live events and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were in real estate. I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 years. And they're like, I don't fucking know. Like who cares?
But before, you'll be bothered. Like, what do you mean you don't know who I am?
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm like, all right, cool. Who cares? Just check out my Instagram.
There it is. Shit anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say let the HUDs do the talking,
For sure.
That if that was the case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get into some deal questions. Just cool things that have happened to you. I want to get into a few. So, craziest deal, meaning, because we're in South Florida, I know I've seen some crazy shit down here. So just a crazy story you can think of.
I already had one that popped into my head.
Perfect. So keep that one.
Yep.
And then the next question will be your biggest deal that you've done in your career.
Okay.
All right, cool. So we'll start with the craziest.
So the craziest one. So at the beginning, back to when I was first starting off, I was doing everything. I was answering the calls. I was the lead manager, the acquisitions agent, the dispatch. I was doing it all, right? So I had an appointment where I answered the call and I'm like, all right, I'm going over. This lady was a hoarder. Honestly, I felt bad for this lady. It took her, I'm sure, forever to answer the door. When I walk in, there was literally toilet paper with feces stuck to the walls. Like, it was like,
Oh my God.
and it was a 2-story house. I didn't even go to the second story because it was like webs. I'm like, all right, good. I've seen enough. Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah, no, I'll buy it.
But man, it's just, that for me was crazy to see how somebody could live like that. That's somebody's mom, family member.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt bad for her. But yeah, dude, it was just like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
it's nuts. And then my biggest deal, man, I've done a couple. I've never broken 200 grand on a real estate deal. I think we made like 180 it was like on a deal off the Gratney here in Miami. It was a commercial property.
Cool.
And we wholesaled it and we made like 180, something like that.
Well, that's cool. What kind of commercial property?
It was like retail. It was literally on the main street.
No kidding.
It was I think there was like a barber shop or a nail salon there. It was like 2 or 3 storefronts.
Very cool. Was it just like, because it kind of just came in, because you usually do residential, right?
Yeah, so they called in from our marketing, and obviously we'll take whatever comes in, right? We can't control who calls in.
Sure.
So we thought it was a good deal. We tied it up, and we found the buyer for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it a quick close?
Yeah, it was.
Burn it. Like what? 2 months?
No, I mean, I would say within a month.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. $180 in less than a month.
Yep.
That's why you got the nice watch. Makes sense now. I heard you like watches now.
I love watches.
Yeah, you love watches.
Yeah.
Yeah? Talk to me.
No,
How many have you bought?
I don't even know, man. I've bought a lot throughout my time, but yeah, lately I've been buying some more special pieces that I like.
Right.
Like I told you, I just bought this one, and I bought the AP one recently.
Nice.
So
For all you kids listening out there, though, he did it now.
oh yeah,
He did it because he's financially secure.
Yeah, Delayed gratification for sure.
Delayed gratification. How long did it take you to buy your first watch?
All right, going back to my bankruptcy days, I did buy one in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So again, don't make the mistake that I did buying all these things early.
Right.
I think I bought the same one you had.
Oh, the sub?
Yeah. And yeah, no. I mean, I bought like a $10,000 watch, and I probably had that one for a long time before I upgraded to one of the nicer gold watches.
Right. What is financial freedom to you?
Financial freedom for me, which I think I'm entering that phase in my life now, is eventually now I'm going to start getting into different cash flowing businesses where I'm going to start doing more hard money lending. I'm going to buy more rentals. I'm handpicking rentals. I don't love rentals, but I think it's definitely now the moment to start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm handpicking them. Like I have a few rentals in Hialeah. I'm also buying them with zero debt, especially right now with the interest rate. And,
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm for me, financial freedom is to have all my bills being covered from my cash flowing assets, and everything else is gravy. My business obviously is my biggest cash flowing business, right?
Sure.
But I eventually want to get stuff that I don't have to work for, pay for my
More passive.
my lifestyle. Exactly, passive.
Yeah. And tax benefits and all that. Because you're making a lot of money actively.
Yes.
So you're getting drilled on taxes. I don't know what your rentals look like, but
Yeah. Well, I've invested in also in syndications and things like that.
oh, cool. Good for you.
I just bought I don't even know if I should be saying this. I just bought a car that weighs over 6,000 pounds.
Oh, you can say it. The IRS doesn't
I
care.
don't like showing off or anything.
No, it's no showing off. That's an agricultural vehicle, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
It is a full tax write-up. Well, you get 80%, but yeah,
So,
that's cool. What kind of car?
G-Wagon,
Oh.
G63.
I had a feeling. That's why you didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm forcing Bobby to get on camera and just say his stuff. He's like the least ostentatious, most humble, quiet guy.
Thanks, man.
But it's good for people to see that if a quiet, introverted guy like that, he's doing it. It's real. And he's so humble about it. He's not out there running around talking and look at me, right? If you ran into him, I mean, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I would think you're just a cool dude, but you're doing some really cool shit. And that's why I love doing these things, because I want to highlight people that are doing it at a very high level, that they have the right intention, behind them. And I think, dude, Miami's lacking in that, bro. I don't know why it is. And it's such a beautiful place, but Miami's really lacking in that.
Let's change that, man.
Let's change that 100%. 100%. So you mentioned something very interesting. So I'm a finance guy by background. You said you buy your rentals with zero debt.
Yes.
I want to know, talk to us about that. Why?
So, honestly, the real reason is because it doesn't make any sense, I think, in my opinion, to get debt right now
Okay.
due to the interest rates being at 8 to 10%. I don't want to buy a rent. First of all, I hate rentals. I'm buying it for certain reasons, right?
Taxes.
Exactly. But I don't want to buy a rental to make $200 a month.
Mhm.
That for me is too much brain damage.
Yes.
So,
And it's being talked about online everywhere.
I'm buying a house right now in Hialeah. Actually, it's like a villa, but it looks like a house. And buying it for $255 in Hialeah. I'm able to rent it for $3,200. Buying it cash. It's going to be making like $2,700 when it's all said and done. If I were to get a loan on that thing, I probably wouldn't even cash flow.
Yep.
So that's my mentality on it. I used to have a CEO coach. Shout out to Daniel Marcos, a great dude. And he told me, dude, the way that I'm doing it, it'll take longer to get there,
Sure.
but it gives me for more peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know guys doing it, getting leverage, and you could get there faster. You're going to also get appreciation and things like that.
Sure.
But I'd rather have that peace of mind, man.
Yeah. I like buying them sub 2. Most of my rentals are sub 2s.
I've never done any sub 2 deals.
Oh, that's crazy. We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's actually not, I mean, especially
Doing
when
it
you're-
down here in South Florida?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I picked one up in Liberty City that was great.
Nice.
Yeah, but and I think especially in South Florida, right? Because we have massive appreciation. I don't really see that slowing down anytime soon, especially in working class areas like Miami Gardens and this and that. But over the last 2 years, a lot of people are having some financial troubles now, and the rates that this rental that I bought was a 3.35. That's a joke. I'm not going to refi that for quite a bit.
If you're able to get that, then I agree you should get leverage on it.
Yeah, man. But I'd love to talk to you about that, because having the sales organization is really just a simple conversation.
Yeah.
And if you already have the lead, why not?
for sure.
But yeah, I was taught that. I did my first sub 2 by mistake like 4 years ago. I wouldn't say I'm a sub 2 expert, but I've picked up quite a few. Now I just ran into Pace at the family mastermind, and we were talking about like commercial sub 2 and stuff like that. Because that dude is just
he's on another level.
He's on another level. He really.
It's funny. I spoke at an event a few weeks ago, and they had a guy there from
Cash Money Mike.
Yeah, Cash Money Mike.
I know him too.
Yeah, and he was talking about it, man. I'm here like thinking, I'm like, I don't know if you could find those in Miami, but I guess you can.
You can, man. And look, you can find them anywhere. Like bro. The thing is, you can find anything if you ask the right question. And I think if you ask the right question to a seller, you never know. The worst they can tell you is no.
Yeah.
I'm not interested, right? But dude, when you pick up a sub, I mean, I picked this thing up for 10 grand out of pocket, and
you gave them upfront money.
Correct.
Upfront.
Yeah, and then the deed came in. They didn't want to deal with it anymore. The property had some liens and violations, but I took it, and it's still cash flowing about $2 grand a month. So, and again, they're super cheap debt. It has 17 years left on the mortgage. That's specific.
So now you're starting to pay down the principal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a midway point. You know, from your background. But yeah, dude, I mean, sub twos are great. You know, I mean, I just think it's like novations, right?
Yeah.
How long ago did you start doing novations?
So I did one by mistake 3 years ago, and then I was like, I don't want to do this crap again.
Yeah.
And then I was forced to start this year. So we started in May. And honestly, novations now is like taking over our businesses. It's
a great model, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's great. It's like closing without closing.
Yep.
Or like wholesaling
without. We'll sell it to a retail buyer. It's a beautiful thing.
And you can sell them to FHAs without the 90-day rule.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But for anybody watching, make sure that you do them the right way, because you can get into some poo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get into some trouble there. I don't know why I just said poo-poo, but anyway. I feel like a 5-year-old. All right, so one interesting thing you told me off camera, which it resonates super close to home for me. So you recently bought your mom a house. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a condo.
It was a condo.
Yes.
Nonetheless. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about that, because I did it in 2021. It still goes down as by far the greatest thing I've ever done. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
No feeling has ever duplicated that for me. Probably won't until later on in my life. But talk to us about that.
So honestly, man, that's been my biggest accomplishment in life.
I love it.
So like I had told you, I was raised by my mom, single mom.
Me too.
Super poor. My mom was literally borrowing money to pay the current rent. Like, she was always behind. And I just felt like I wanted to do something special for her. She was living now with my sister, like in an efficiency. Like, it's just like a small room in her house. And I'm like, man, I got to get her something more comfortable. And now that I'm able to, so I found her a place actually closer to me. I renovated the entire unit, designed it with my interior decorator. Shout out to Susan Wong. She's one of the best decorators in South Florida.
Cool.
And man, we turned over the keys in the unit to her yesterday. So yesterday was a really emotional day. Awesome. My mom was crying, happy.
Did she have any idea that it was coming, or was it a full surprise?
So I showed her the unit. I just wanted to make sure that she approved at first of the unit, but she didn't see any of the renovations or the decorations, obviously. So she knew about the unit, but I surprised her with all the other stuff. And she saw it for the first time, completed yesterday.
And what was her reaction?
Oh, dude, she walked in crying. She couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I think she's still like in awe. So walked in. We actually got her filming with Chris. I was here earlier. And crying. Then I hung out with her later. We took her to go do groceries. And we were just talking, man, that she's super happy and thanks me every day. And then she starts mentioning, that she knew I was always going to be this important person, and that she's so happy that I turned out to be a good person and all that. So
that's amazing, bro. Congratulations.
Congrats. I heard you did the same too, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I thought it was Cuban moms. I really don't know what I was thinking, but I thought it was just going to be a nonchalant thing. I sat my mom and my grandma down. I was like, hey, le compré una casa. And they were like, ah! My grandmother almost had a heart attack. It was crazy. But it was the greatest thing, bro. Like, for me, single mom as well.
Yeah.
Watched her bust her ass my entire life. Didn't have a good financial blueprint, same way.
Yep.
But she was always, there was two of us, my brother and I, and she was always just 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. She was gone working, 2-3 jobs at a time. And my grandmother, the same thing, right? And taking care of us. If it wasn't for my grandmother, she wouldn't have been able to do that. So Now she's a rehabber. She flips like 30 homes a year. Solo dolo, still not married.
Hustler.
Yeah, bro. English is her second language. I'm proud that, you know, she learned the business through me. I wholesale to her, which is pretty cool. That's a funny dynamic when an 80K assignment comes in and she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, hey,
Damn, you got me good there.
that's the market that we're in, mom.
I was your mom.
Yeah, I'm like, mommy, please. But, you know, she never really asked for anything, which I respect the shit out of her for that.
That's awesome.
But, dude, I don't think that enough young men, not saying that you have to do it the way that we did and buy your mom a house and all that stuff, but I'm going to say, bro, I don't think enough young men aspire for things like that. I think that, you know, before you get all this cool shit, you know, you should be setting up your family. You should be helping the people that helped you get there. You know, and if you're in a position to do so, brother, I think that's your responsibility
100%.
as a man.
I always tell everybody, a woman made me a man. I got raised by my sister and my mom, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure they're comfortable. I mean, what is it? I'm making all this money and she's living in a tiny ass room. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it was definitely my responsibility. I had to do it.
I love
And it
that.
was honestly the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna feel like that forever.
Oh yeah.
And just wait. Every time you visit her, she's gonna bring it up. And
I'll probably pass by there later on today. So.
yeah, it's the same thing for me. My girl and I go over there, and every single time my grandmother comes around, she's like, "Oye, esta casa me encanta." She just always tells me, and I'm like,
That's anything you thank you.
I love you, I love you, I love you. I thank her, you know, and she makes me ropa vieja and this and that, and that's the best thank you I can get, you know.
That's great.
For anybody, just to wrap this up, but for anybody that's out there who's a young Bobby or a young Willie, aspiring, what's a piece of advice that you can give them?
What I would do is definitely find a mentor or a mastermind. Find somebody that's doing what you want to be doing. They're ahead of you, and just learn from them. I wish I would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, right. Imagine where you would be.
Yep.
And I think of the same thing, you know. And in closing, what's your favorite thing to do right now? Because you're at a different phase of your life.
So, man, I just did a video on this the other day. So I get a massage twice a week.
Okay.
So that's actually my absolute favorite thing to do. Actually, I'm going to get one today at 3:30. And I love going to, I recently bought a place in the Florida Keys in Key Largo.
Nice.
So I love going out there, man. I feel like it's like I'm in another country, honestly. I feel like I'm in the Caribbean and just being on the boat, man, relaxing with the kids, with the family. So I would say boating and massages.
Boating and massages. Those are two interesting things, and I love it. I love it. Brother, listen, I wanted to, you know, our paths were supposed to intersect a long time ago. I couldn't be happier to have met you and, you know, to become friends now.
Thank you.
Thank
you for having me.
No, man, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. I respect the shit out of you. In that note, I do have something for you as a gift.
Nice.
I know that you're on the social media track now.
Yep.
And I've been watching some of your videos, so I got you something. So these are Rhodes, and they're wireless mics. Your film guy will know this.
Okay.
They're little wireless clip-ons. Yeah, bro. They last for like 8 hours.
Love it.
They saved my life with content. So I just wanted to, you know, pay it forward to you and help you on the journey there.
I appreciate that.
All right. No problem, brother. I love you, man. Take care of yourself, you man. Perfect.